Welcome to Spiritual Dialogues with Father Udon de Castro. We are here at Cariana Lay Monastic Community. I'm your host, Brother Lodi, and with us is Sister Tachi. Sister?
Yes, Father, we hear there is a synod going on in Rome. Would you like to tell us what it is about, Father?
So at this time, at the recording of this program that
Right
is
now.
going on right now, there is a synod that is going on in Rome called the Synod of the Abuse. And it is supposed to be called by Pope Francis in order to try to solve the big scandal that is going on in the United States with regard to Cardinal McCarrick. And this has been the headlines in the newspapers, both religious newspapers and the local national newspapers. And so the Catholic Church cannot but help but try to resolve the issue. And so a synod is being held to try to resolve this issue. And the Catholic Church is very much concerned about what is going on. And we shall show this in the sense that right now 100 lay Catholics are now standing still in St. Peter's Basilica, praying the Rosary, in the hope that this problem can be resolved by the Synod. Even the Catholic Bishops' Conference of the United States had written the Synod telling them to please try very hard to resolve this issue because the Catholic Church seems to be crumbling and everybody's being confused. So we shall use 3 of our programs to discuss this. First, a preparatory program in which we shall discuss certain points so we can understand what's going on in the Synod. Then secondly, we shall discuss the Synod itself, what it's doing, what they're discussing. And thirdly, we're going to discuss whether the Synod will be able to resolve the problem that is confronting the Catholic Church today, especially in the United States.
Okay, Father. So there must be there must be some background in the history of the Church that has this same confusion. In the history of our Church, has there been confusion like this?
Yes. God has been so good to mankind in the sense that He made sure that everything that would happen today, in the year 2019, 20, and so on, has been already happening in the past. And so what is happening today has been foreshadowed in the past. It has happened in the past already. It is God's way of preparing us for the future so that when we face this same problem, we would know how to handle it.
Yes,
Because it has happened in the past and they've handled it in the past, and therefore, hopefully, if it happens again now in the future, we can handle it. Now, this problem has happened already before in Sodom and Gomorrah. And that's the Old Testament.
Yes, Father.
It happened only in 2 cities, Sodom and Gomorrah. And those 2 cities were destroyed by God, just to show you how angry God is against this kind of sin, sodomy. And it's sodomy committed by 2 cities, Sodom and Gomorrah. And this sin, sodomy, is something that is very unnatural. That is why God doesn't want it. He hates it. It's called the sin that cries out to heaven, cries out, asking for vengeance from heaven. But before we discuss that, what happened to Sodom and Gomorrah, by the way, today is the, as we make this recording, is the Thursday of the 6th week in ordinary time.
Yes, Father.
And it's the feast also of Saint Peter Damian.
Okay.
Saint Peter Damian was the one who solved this problem during his time.
It happened again. It had happened already.
It had happened again
And
in the
again and already, yes.
1100.
Oh,
That's
yes.
in the New Testament already, New Testament. But let us get a background about the whole thing so we shall know what is happening. Now, because of original sin, many do not realize it, that the devil possesses us spiritually because of original sin. Everybody is spiritually possessed by the devil, not physically.
Yes.
What you see in the movies are physical possession. The exorcisms that you see every day, or the movies also, is physical.
It's somewhat difficult because you cannot see the way the devils do these
Yeah.
things.
Spiritual possession really is like that. That's why you would never know
If you are.
Yes.
that you're spiritually possessed. And the example of this is Judas.
Yes, brother.
Now, the difference between the two is that ordinary exorcists like Father Gabriel Amor could exorcise physical possession by the devil. He could. And many exorcists, all dioceses have exorcists that can drive away the devil who are physically possessing people. But spiritual possession, not even exorcists can do that.
Wow.
They cannot exorcise spiritual possession.
But then who can exercise that, Father?
Well, it can be exorcised, and we shall see how it's done.
Yes, Father.
But to show you how difficult it is to exorcise spiritual possession, even the apostles did not notice that Judas was spiritually possessed. And Jesus Christ could not even exorcise Judas. Because when you are spiritually possessed, you have allowed the devil with your free will to possess you. And therefore, to drive away the devil needs a consent of your free will. So unless you consent
Yes.
to driving away the devil, even Christ cannot drive away the devil
Because of the free will.
because of the free will. That's spiritual possession. And many people do not realize it, that because of original sin, everybody is spiritually possessed by the devil in some degree. Some degree. That's the reason why in baptism, it always begins with an exorcism. So all baptized baby, there is an exorcism before the baptismal sacramental immersion. Yeah. Because the Catholic Church believes that child is possessed by the devil. So the Catholic Church has to drive away the devil first before giving him grace, because the grace will never enter the church, the child, as long as the devil is there. So he has to be exorcised.
Is that the reason why the priest says, I baptize you in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit?
Well, that's the baptism.
Already,
That's not the
before that-
exorcism. Yeah. The exorcism is more before that, the sacrament. So that's the reason why Catholic Church always baptizes baby, and it's always preceded by an exorcism, because the devil possesses the child. Maybe let's say there's one devil inside, or two devils, because the devil doesn't want to exist outside the souls of men. He doesn't like to be existing in the air. That's why you remember when Christ drove the devil out of the man, they chose to enter the pigs
Yes, Father.
because they don't want to live in the air. Nowhere, in other words, nowhere. They want to live in the souls of men. So the devil always looks for men to possess, to be their abiding place, their house, etc., like that. So as long as you are without faith, the devil will enter you.
Yes, Father.
So all children are like that before baptism. They have no faith. And so the devil enters them. But as Christ was telling us, maybe probably it's one or two devils like that. But they're exorcised by the exorcism and baptism.
But we didn't realize that, Father.
Yeah, nobody realized that. But it's the teaching of the Catholic Church. Now, when the child is baptized and the devil has been driven away, the parents and the godparents and the parish priest, his own bishop, is supposed to train that child to reach perfect faith.
That's the ideal thing to do by the godparents.
Yeah. That's what you call to evangelize the child.
Yes.
Because the moment the child reaches perfect faith, it has to be perfect. Not just the beginning of faith, it has to be perfect faith. As long as the child has a perfect faith, the devil cannot return. Cannot. But if after baptism, the parents, the godparents, the parish priest delayed so much in training the child to reach perfect faith, Christ says the devil will see that the child's soul is empty again. Christ said so. And so the devil will return to the soul of the child with 7 devils who are more vicious. And so the state of the soul of the child is worse than before. That's what Christ said.
But the problem is that we were not taught that the things that we must do to save the child, to have the child a perfect faith.
Yeah. But Christ taught us in scriptures.
But the priest, the one who baptized,
Yeah.
doesn't
That's the
explain
problem.
everything.
You're right. That's the problem, yeah. That's why Sodom and Gomorrah took place. Now, the moment you're possessed by the devil, let's say now, before you had 1 or 2 devils, and after baptism, because of neglect in developing your faith, 7 other evil spirits entered into you. Every time you commit sin, 7 more devils enter into you. And every time you commit more, 7 more. You commit more sins, 7 more. And afterwards, as Christ showed in the case of the man possessed by the devil, you could end up with legions of devil in your soul, possess your soul.
Oh my God.
Now, if the devil possess your soul, they will dictate to your soul to commit sin, of course. And the sin has different levels. In other words, there are always the lighter sin, then it gets more serious, more serious, more serious.
These 7 devils, it has something to do with the 7 vices that is in the heart and mind of people.
Well, that's what they're going to do. They're going to incite your vices. They're going to tempt you using your own vices for you to give in to your vices.
So it will make your vices weak, your will.
Now that you will commit now sin.
Yes.
So by giving into your vices, you commit sin. Sin
Yes.
comes from vices.
Yes.
The vices themselves
Vices
are not sin.
Not yet.
It is giving into the vices that become sin. So sins come from vices. And so the devil has degrees like that. And the spiritual writer, especially St. John Cassian, enumerates. The first thing that the devil will tell you is to tempt you with gluttony.
Yes.
Now, gluttony is a vice.
Yes.
That's not a sin. That's not a sin. It's not a sin to eat.
No.
But you can have an inordinate love for food. Inordinate love for food.
Which is gluttony.
Yeah, which is the vice. The gluttony is the vice, no? And when you give into it, you sin. And then if you give into gluttony, you go down to the next vice. And that is anger.
Oh, I see.
That's also a vice. It's good to be angry. The vice anger is not really bad. In fact, if you get angry at your sin, that's good.
The Bible said, be angry, but do not sin.
Exactly. So there's nothing wrong with anger. But the moment you give into your anger by being uncharitable to other people, it becomes a sin. Now, when the devil tells you to be angry in a sinful way, and you give it to him, then you go down to the third level of vices, which is covetousness.
I'm sorry, Father, but we have only about 30 seconds to go.
Yeah. And so anyway, the devil, as long as he possesses you spiritually, brings you down, down, down to all the vices. Different vices. You can all find that in the writings of Saint John Cassian. Until you hit the bottom, which is sodomy. So sodomy is a sin showing that you're possessed by the devil and he's commanding you to commit that sin. And you cannot say no, like Judas. When the devil told him, sell and betray Christ, he did so.
I guess we need more. We need more explanation from you, Father, so that we will understand this thing. Because my experience is that this is the first time I heard about that.
Okay. So it's a good news. Okay.
Thank you very much for watching Spiritual Dialogues with Father Don De Castro. See you again, my brothers and sisters. Thank you.
Hosanna, Hosanna.